Everybody, I'm Julie Roginski for FoxNews.com. Joining me today is Sadie Kurzban. She's the founder and CEO of 305 Fitness, a dance cardio workout class that she built from the ground up ever since graduating from college in 2012. Now 305 is sweeping the East Coast with dance studios in New York, Boston, and D.C. Sadie has recently shed light on an issue impacting women in the workplace. She posted on Facebook about feedback from an employee who was upset because she didn't look up from reading emails, say hi, and ask how he was doing. Sadie writes in part, quote, "I realized what a deep double standard I face as a woman in a management position. A man who doesn't look up from his desk is perceived as busy, achieving, direct, and focused. A woman who doesn't look up from her desk is perceived as frigid, cold, calculating, and a robot. I would love for you to share your stories in the comments below. Even if you think it's small, it is important. This is not about accusing others or blaming men. This is about exposing our stories to help spread awareness of how we live as women." Here's 305 Fitness and founder and CEO, Sadie Kurzban. Good to have you here.
Thank you, Julie.
So tell me, what prompted you to make this public?
So I'll tell you, as a result of the election, I had a lot of women in my life who wanted to talk about the election, and they felt that some of it was sexist. So, for example, feeling like there was a strong double standard, you know, if President-elect Trump, if he were a woman, how that would have played out. But they were scared to come forward because they thought that they would come off as hysterical or outrageous if they said anything like that. So this really came from a personal way of showing, hey, world, even in 2016, being a successful entrepreneur, we still face a lot of sexism in the workplace and in our personal lives.
And what's the response been from
people? Oh, it's been fantastic. I've had so many people message me or tell me, call me how much it's meant to them. I've had a lot of people actually message me and tell me that exact same thing happened to me at work, but I can't share it publicly because I'm afraid that my boss is going to see it.
It's interesting because I run my own business as well, and I talk about this all the time, that men and women in positions of influence really do have very different standards they have to live up to. And there's a show here at Fox I do called Outnumbered. We just had this discussion yesterday off camera, four women and I who do the show, about how sometimes we are resting B-face, and how this is something that men never have to contend with. I've never heard that said about a guy, but women have to deal with that all the time, and it's very challenging. And especially, you also point out in one of the stories that I read about you that you went to a bank and you felt you weren't taken very seriously by the bank, despite the fact that you own your own business, despite the fact that you're putting money in the bank. Tell me a little about that.
Yeah, I can tell you, you know, I run a very successful, profitable business. We have locations all over the country, and yet I'm not taken seriously often. So one of the times that this happened was I went to the bank. I was asked to come in for a meeting, and I came in with a male employee of mine. And the manager there didn't want to start the meeting until the male was present. He kept asking if he was going to join us. And I had to explain to him, I am the boss. I pay his salary. I am the final decision maker in this meeting. And then in the meeting, this banker was, he kept sort of mansplaining is what we call it, right? So telling me, oh, I didn't understand, I was jumping ahead of myself, and I had to explain to him, and I hate to do this. I went to Brown, I was head of my class, I graduated Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude with a degree in economics. I run a successful, profitable business. I do understand everything you're saying to me. You don't need to talk down to me that way. So I feel that there's 1,000,001 examples of this, big or small, where this plays a role, you know, how my gender is perceived by others.
Do you think that's a gender issue? Do you think it's more of an age issue because you are very young?
I
do
am,
own your own business, and do you think that was maybe as a result of him thinking, oh, this young woman or this young person, maybe not a woman, is here, she can't possibly be in charge, versus the fact that you're a woman? Do you think you would have had that problem if you were 45 and not 25?
Yeah, I definitely think that my age can definitely play a bias as well. But given the fact that he was so reticent to start the meeting without a man present, that signaled to me that something else was going on. And this is often the thing, right, for women, as we go about our day, we wonder, was that sexist? Did my gender play a role? And yet we're so scared to say it because there's so many other factors that could play a role, which is true. But my whole point is, come out and say it. This culture of silence is only perpetuating these problems.
Well, that's interesting. So do you think, as a millennial, obviously, as a leader in your field, is this something that you're going to make a big deal of going forward as a business leader, that you want to include more women in positions of influence? Because sometimes I feel women helping other women do that and able to talk about it, and so that nobody looks at you as a hysterical, and I hate that term, but people do use it as a hysterical woman or girl who's having a fit, as opposed to saying, look, I am a successful, as you said, businesswoman, and I feel like women aren't getting their fair shake, but what could you possibly do to ameliorate the situation in your position, do you think?
Exactly. I think what you said is totally spot on. The word hysterical is so used against women often to put us in our place.
Yeah.
I always imagine if men were treated the same way, if they were treated in situations where they felt it was unfair, how they would react. And I don't imagine it would be just to take it in passively.
Yeah.
So my first thing is, of course, employing more women, putting them in leadership roles. And then there's many things that I could do. So as we build studios, insisting that some of our construction force be females, asking about other people that we do business with and what their practices are for hiring, and then just encouraging people my age to speak up. So to go to their bosses and say, I don't think that it was fair that I wasn't called upon in that meeting, or I don't think that it's fair that I'm treated or viewed a certain way because of my gender.
Well, I think it's really powerful, and I think it's wonderful that you're not only so accomplished at your age, but you're actually taking a leadership role and making sure other women are aware, regardless of age, as to how to go about this. It is a problem. Sadie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
For more on the story, stick with us at foxnews.com. I'm Julie Roginski. Thanks for watching.